Hi, and very welcome to Milkfish Chess channel. Hello, chess warriors! Today we have a very interesting game. It is played between Aron Nimzowitsch with the white pieces against Siegbert Tarrasch with the black pieces. It's very interesting because they were considered like enemies. It's been told in the history that it was not very easy to be friend of Nimzowitsch. We cannot deny his contribution to chess, which is huge. You know, Aron Nimzowitsch has made a really huge contribution to chess. He's like the father of the hypermodern chess, and many openings have his name, and it's very interesting. But Siegbert Tarrasch also has been a great player. We also have openings with his name, some variations, and because there is a brilliancy in this game from Tarrasch, that's why we are seeing with the black's perspective, with the black pieces perspective. So then we can really enjoy better. So we can feel like we are playing with the black pieces, and then we can maybe try to find the moves later on. Okay, so let's see this game, a very interesting game. And Aron Nimzowitsch starts with d4, the queen pawn's opening. Tarrasch replies with d5. Then we have knight to f3 and c5, the Krauss variation of the queen's pawn opening. Okay, then we have c4 and e6, e3, knight to f6, bishop to d3, knight to c6, castle kingside, bishop to d6, b3 now, castle kingside, bishop to b2, b6, knight from b to d2, and bishop to b7. If you look at this position now, both players have already developed their minor pieces. Both players put their kings into safety by castling, and both of them decided to do the fianchettos with their bishops. So it's an almost symmetrical position, although there are some imbalances, and that's what makes this position interesting. Okay, so now white do have many choices, but when you already developed your minor pieces, now it's a good idea to develop your rooks, or even considering connecting rooks by playing the queen somewhere. Okay, so but the game continues with rook to c1, so putting the rook in a more interesting column. Queen to e7, now adding another protection to this pawn and also connecting the rooks. Pawn takes, and knight to h4. The idea of knight to h4 is that, well, you don't want your knights to be standing on the corners. Their knights are really bad on the corners, but when you're maneuvering, then it's okay. So the idea here is to make this maneuver from f3 to h4, then from h4 to f5, and with a double attack on the queen and the bishop, and maybe get rid of this strong bishop from black here on d6, and keep with the bishop pair. So black has to do something about this, and black plays g6. Then the knight goes back to f3, and we have rook from a to d8. So putting the rook in an interesting column, same column as the queen. It's always interesting to do that. So pawn takes pawn, and bishop to b5. And black plays knight to e4, and white decides. White has a strange decision here. It's really not easy to understand the idea behind it. But okay, white continues with bishop takes e6, then bishop takes e6, then white plays queen to c2. Okay, so making pressure here on e4, and also making pressure here later, and okay, and connecting the rooks, of course. So black takes the knight, and knight takes knight, recapture. Let's go back one move here, and as we can see here, when black captures this knight, so what's the idea here? Of course that white cannot recapture with the queen. This would not be good for white. White could continue now with d4, and now he's threatening to capture here and messing up with the pawn structure here. If white tries to defend this, then we have rook from f to e8. Now this pawn here is pinned and attacked 3 times, and that's a much better position for black. Okay, so going back, after knight takes, then Nimzowitsch recapture with the knight. And what's the idea here? Now this knight was the only guardian near his king, so he was kind of locking this diagonal and also defending this pawn on h2, and now he's away from his king. Also the queen is away from his king, this rook is away from his king, and this bishop is away from his king as well. Although this bishop has a great diagonal, and also this queen can later on join and threat some checkmates, going to c3, and so that's probably what's white's plan probably. But okay, I really want you to take a look at this position. So imagine you are playing with the black pieces, and there's a brilliancy here now, and that's why this game is very famous and very interesting. And the move that Tarrasch plays now is d4, and it's very beautiful. Now it opens this diagonal. This diagonal is also opened, and it seems that all pieces are really playing in harmony and really well positioned in the chessboard. And okay, so now this pawn is free to be captured, and white captures this, and now the brilliancy starts. So if you want to find a move now, feel free to pause the video. It's really nice to try to find this move. So imagine you're playing with the black pieces now, and you're playing against Aron Nimzowitsch. So what move would you play? I'll give you a couple of seconds. And okay, so if you found this move, congratulations, it's really fun to find a move like that. And if you just want to see how it goes on, the move that Tarrasch played now is bishop takes h2, and this comes with a check and a very nice sacrifice. And there's really no way to avoid this. You cannot play king to h1. It really won't help. So black just captured the pawn, and now he can simply go back, and now he's pinning this knight, and it's a much better position for black. So you don't want to do that. You really have to see what black has in mind. So king captures, that was played, and now queen to h4. So now only move is king to g1. It's a forced move, so it's played. And again, how do you continue this attack? So you started a great attack, but how do you continue now? And that's what makes this game beautiful. And again, if you want to try to find this move, feel free, and I'll give you a couple seconds. And the move that the Tarrasch played now is bishop takes g2. So that's really a brilliancy. Now he's sacrificing his second bishop, and it's really hard to find a move here for white. I mean, of course, if you think about capturing here, then you're getting in trouble, because that move was not played in the game. So imagine he had played this, then simply queen to g4 now, and this king has to go either to h1 or h2. It doesn't matter. Let's go to h1, for example. Many ways can lead to victory now, but one way to do it immediately is rook to d5. So now you're threatening checkmate here, and there is no way to defend this. Okay, so you would have to sacrifice your queen, probably taking here on c5, and this game is over for white. It's a much better position for black. So after bishop takes g2, Aron Nimzowitsch did not capture the bishop, and he moved f3 instead, which is considered to be a good move in this position, although black is really winning now. The idea here is now that when this queen, for example, comes to attack here, now this king has a safety square to go, has a nice space to go. So okay, so let's see how the game goes on. So you're playing with the black pieces. You don't want to capture this rook here. Your bishop is really doing an excellent job here, so you want to join more pieces to the attack. And the way to do that, and the best move that Tarrasch played here, is rook from f to e8. It looks like a slow move, you're attacking the king, so now you just move a rook and you're threatening directly nothing, but there's a monster threat of this rook to e2, and also you're not allowing this king to go to those squares later on. So very interesting move. And okay, so it's really difficult to find a move here. Aron Nimzowitsch played knight to e4 with a discovered attack on this bishop, and also closing this column here, trying to stop the attack from Tarrasch. But Tarrasch continued his attack now with queen to h1, comes with the check, only move king to f2, and now bishop takes f1. So now the position of white is really collapsing. There are just so many threats here that it's really hard to continue. Nimzowitsch still tried a little bit more, so he played d5, and the idea is to open up this diagonal. Maybe he's going to play the queen to c3 and try to do some counter attack here. Now it's Tarrasch's turn, and he played also a very interesting move. So you don't want this knight to be here closing this column, so f5 was played, and now with a very interesting idea that if this knight ever moves, then this king is really gonna be locked and really gonna be into trouble. So okay, white still tried something here, and now he's threatening checkmate here on g7, and this is really interesting, and black has to do something about this. And you cannot try to defend this with, for example, queen to h6, because then white is winning here, because after queen to h8 check and king goes to f7, then white can play here knight to g5, and this comes with the check. Of course you cannot capture here with the queen, because then queen to g7, and this comes with the checkmate. This pawn here is guarding this important square on e6, so in this position king would have to move to e7, but then you can continue the attack with queen to f6, and after this king goes to d7, you can continue the attack with queen to c6. Now queen to e7, king to e7 only move, then queen to e6, king is forced to go to f8, and then this queen can go to f7, and this is checkmate. So an interesting idea. Maybe white can do this. So that's why after queen to c3 you cannot play this queen to h6 and try to defend. So instead black does not try to defend, and he tries an immediate attack. So queen to g2, and this is check. King to e3, only move, because let's go back here. Of course white cannot go here, because then simply queen to e2, and this would be checkmate. So after king to g2, then king to e3. And then there's really a crushing attack here from Tarrasch, and he plays rook takes e4. That comes with a check. You are forced to take. There's no where this king can go. This okay, so you are forced to take with the pawn, and this is the position that's interesting, and that's this is related to the title of this video. Because as many people know, and history tells, that Aron Nimzowitsch and Tarrasch were really enemies, and then they were kind of they played with rage against each other, and that's not good. That's something that is difficult to happen nowadays, because people are more try to put aside the personal questions and things like that, and just try to do the best, and not letting the ego to interfere with the game, and so I think that people are more prepared now for this kind of situation, although of course rivalry do exist in any kind of sports, but it's not about rage, or at least that's what I believe, and I hope so. But so that's what makes this game polemic, and you can say what you think about this game in the comments below. And the point is that in this position black has mate in 3 moves, and it's really easy to find. I mean, you don't have to be an excellent player, a genius, to find this move, and it's queen to g3, and it was not played in this game, and there's a forced checkmate in 3 moves So after queen to g3, this king is forced to move, and the only square available here is d2. And after queen to f2 now, and this king has nowhere to go. Only move is this d1 square. All other squares are taken. And after then simply queen to e2, and this would be checkmate. So simple 3 moves, and so that's why this game is polemic. So in this position, Tarrasch did not play queen to g3 and went for the checkmate in 3 moves, but instead he went for a Cobra Kai student-like move, and maybe a Sadic move. I don't know. What do you think about this? Maybe you can share your opinion in the comments. But the continuation from Tarrasch was f4, and this is really a torture, a psychological torture, because of course you don't want to resign here, because White will always have the hope that sometime he can checkmate Black's king. So it's difficult to White to resign here, because he still has some hope, and so he's in a psychological torture. And this game really seems like a torture, because now the pawn is checking the king, so king captures the pawn, only move, and Black continues with rook to f8, and this comes with the check. And now Black is making his king to go to the middle of the board. It's really humiliating the White pieces now. Queen to h2 check, and now look at his king. Look at where is he going. Now this king is on e6, and rook to e8, this comes with the check, and now king to d7, and this is psychologically torturing again, because now White is threatening to take this rook and also threatening checkmate. So, but of course Tarrasch saw all of that, and now he played bishop to b5, and this comes with the checkmate. So a beautiful checkmate. We must all agree that this is a beautiful check, this is a brilliancy. But that's the polemic. So what do you think? Do you think that Tarrasch did not see checkmate in 3 moves, and he went for the checkmate in 5 moves instead? Do you think he wanted to humiliate Nimzowitsch, or simply that's the continuation that he saw? So what do you think about that? I'm very interested to know. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, you can like the video. You can also subscribe to the channel by clicking below, and so you can always be informed, so you can always know when new videos are coming. And that's it. Thank you so much for your audience, and see you next time.